Do you ever feel that you're in that constant cycle of getting ready to get ready? Do you ever feel that you aren't like a full entrepreneur or a real entrepreneur because you aren't working the long hours and you um, aren't spending, all that time hustling and bustling and working 7 days a week? And do you ever feel that it's kind of like a side hustle for you and you're not going to be taken seriously by your friends to be a real entrepreneur? I've kind of had those thoughts and feelings recently, and for me to have some better self mind talk or some better mindset talk, and also to get back into my disciplines, I've been getting back into what I consider are some of the core disciplines that have helped me when in times when I have been successful, because I go through peaks and valleys also. When I have been successful, to be a more successful entrepreneur and to live more in my mission and more in my path. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on the live stream. Thank you, everybody, for joining us as usual. For those of you that are not aware of where we live stream broadcast from, we have a Facebook group called Empire Builders, and that's where we are today. My name is Patrick Allman from StopDoingNothing.com, and I handle the weekly live stream or semi-weekly live stream there. And today I thought we would revisit some of the core basic things, or core basic things, I don't like the word things, core basic disciplines it takes for those of you that want to launch a business or be an entrepreneur or be a better entrepreneur. And if you're not an entrepreneur, just to be a better person in general. I've always noticed that when you talk to people that are hyper successful or ultra successful, we're always looking to talk to them about what's their amazing secret. Let's talk to Warren Buffett. What's your amazing secret? Or Tony Robbins or Will Smith or Russell Brunson or Brian Tracy. I've got 5 minutes with Brian Tracy. What would you ask Brian Tracy as far as his ultimate success secret? And I've always noticed that these people don't have any big secrets. They always go back to the basics, because the basics of life and the basics of discipline are the secret. The secret isn't some grandiose fireworks thing that that a big giant expert's going to drop in your lap and say this one thing is going to be revolutionary. This one thing is going to change your life. No, the secrets to being a good entrepreneur and a good business person and a good person in general are very basic. And I've had to recently kind of spend some time in reflection, and I'm not really much of a meditation person, but in reflection, thinking about the basics and get back to those. And so today I thought we would cover some of those just to keep you grounded, just to remind you of the basics. And of course, this is something that when requested, I'll teach someone and I'll coach someone personal one-on-one. But today I thought I would share it with you, because if you're someone who is thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or you want to get ahead in your current career or your current job, you've always got to get back to the basics. So today, let's spend some time talking about 4 or 5 basics that I've had to make sure I get back to. Number one on the top of my list of basics is maintenance and the care and feeding of my body. I've held a belief for a long time that everything I want to do in life has to be done with the most energy and the most fervor and the most excitement as possible. And the only way I get that way, the only way I'm at my peak form, my peak energy, is when my body feels good. And I'm not a big weightlifter like I used to be. I used to be very much into deadlifting and squatting and bench pressing as much as I could. And I've since gotten out of that. I'm more of an aerobic person now. I'm more of a person that focuses on energy management and energy maintenance. So I am, and you get tired of hearing it, but I'll talk about it for a little bit. I am that kind of person that is at the gym multiple times a week. And I'm not going for a fitness competition. I'm not going for a bodybuilding or a powerlifting competition. I think CrossFit's awesome, but I'm not someone that's going to ever be competing in a CrossFit competition. I may, who knows? I just don't think that's going to happen. But the only time I feel really good is when I take care of my body. And by feel really good, I mean I wake up in the morning and I don't want to turn over and go back to sleep. A lot of people do that. You may be one of those people. You may not be. I don't know. But a lot of people I know, their first thought when they wake up in the morning is, oh, I'm exhausted. I want to go back to sleep. We're actually going to get to sleep as my second point. But that starts the previous day. That starts with the food you eat and your energy management and your movement. And those things are core. Those things are going to determine the ultimate success. You cannot do anything in life if you have horrible habits when it comes to your health. You cannot do anything in life if you are lethargic, if you are dehydrated, if you're eating crap all the time. I know some of you may not have some choices in this matter, but you know what? I believe we all have choices one way or another. But the health and maintenance of your body is the grounds for everything. I'm not kidding you. It's the grounds for everything. It's the grounds for your mindset when you think about money and am I going to have a $1,000 a month or a $500 a month or a $10,000 a month? You can't have those mindsets. You can't think about those things when you're feeling like crap. And the feeling like crap comes from what you put in your body 2 hours ago. And what you put in your body 2 hours ago, depending on what you planned 3 or 4 hours before that. So health is one of those things, and health and the welfare of your body, is one of those things that does require some back planning. But none of this other stuff matters I'm going to talk about. None of it matters if you feel like crap. And I hate feeling like crap. So we're going to cover several other things in here today. I've got 5 other points I want to cover, but all of them start with health. And I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a licensed CrossFit person. I'm not a medical doctor, but I can just give you the basics of health and you know them. See, that's what it is. I'm going to tell you things that you already know. Nobody that's watching this video is an idiot. Nobody that's watching this video is stupid or a moron. Hey, Stephanie and Heather, good to see both of you. I don't believe that of any of you, but sometimes I think we just need to be reminded of the basics. So what are the basics? Get water in your body early and often. Please keep hydrated. My mood is so dependent on how hydrated I feel. I love coffee, love tea, love my green matcha. You know what? I love a vodka Collins every now and then. But water is the essence of everything. Before I have a drink, I'll have 2 or 3 glasses of water. Before I have my coffee in the morning, I'll have my water. You have to stay hydrated or your mood will be depressed. You won't feel like doing crap. You won't feel like getting out of bed. You won't feel like dealing with your spouse, your lover, your significant other. You won't feel like, getting into, I'm a big Infusionsoft person. You won't feel like getting into Infusionsoft and getting your work done for the day. You'll hate email and you'll hate everybody else. It's amazing for me, and I'm kind of curious, please comment if you believe this. It's amazing to me how much of my mood is affected by how hydrated I am. And I didn't used to think that, but I can physically feel the change in my mood, in my brain, and my muscles, depending on how hydrated I am. So hydration is key. I'm a big fan of a high protein diet, but as always, your diet is dependent on your needs. I'm not a big fat person. The basics are there: low salt, relatively, carbs relative to the amount of energy you're going to expend. If you're going to be sitting in front of your desk all day, you don't need a high carb diet. Carbs are energy. And protein is for muscle growth and muscle maintenance. So, these are just very basic things. You don't need to deal with a nutritionist or talk to someone about these things. They're just so basic that you can think about them for 5 or 10 minutes and you've got the basics. So what does this require? This requires meal planning and things like that. So again, I don't want to go down the avenue of becoming a nutritionist and giving you nutrition advice, but for the love of God, please drink plenty of water. I don't know what the recommendation is. I'm going to tell you how I drink my water. Okay, this is the Patrick. We'll go into water for a little bit, then we'll get on to my second point. I set a timer on my watch right here. On your Apple Watch. You can do this on your computer also. I do this on a regular basis. There's a place here to set a timer. You can go in right here, and I don't know if you can see my watch right here. But I like set my Apple Watch for an hourly timer, and every hour I get up, I do what the body has to do. I don't want to go into details there, and I will rehydrate myself with water. And after I've done that a couple of times with the water, then I'll have my coffee. But you can ask my wife. I kid you not. The first thing I do in the morning is I get up, Okay, let's say first or second thing. I get up, I may put on my Apple Watch because I love to count my steps, and then I will walk in the kitchen and I have a stopdoingnothing.com cup, a Yeti cup, and I drink my water. How much do I drink? Oh, my Yeti cup is about that big. I used to chug the entire thing, and then I found out I was getting really waterlogged and I didn't like it. And so what I do is I drink about half my Yeti, then I start my morning routine of getting my oatmeal and my eggs ready, and then I'll come back and I'll drink another half a Yeti, and then maybe after that later, before I have my coffee, I'll drink another one. So I'm well hydrated by the time I get to my coffee. So you know what? Enough of the nutrition thing, enough of the water thing. Please do me a favor before you think about any of the stuff we talk about in entrepreneurship, before you think about making money or mindset or your Facebook advertising or your lead generation or your landing pages or any of that stuff that is key to making you a successful entrepreneur. Think about the health of your body, and in particular, hydration. Like I said, I don't know about you, but when it comes to me, if I am not hydrated, I feel like crap. And if I feel like crap, nothing else matters. I'll snap at the animals, I'll snap at my friends, I'll snap at my spouse. Nothing else matters. Okay, we've beat number one, the body, taking care of your body into the ground. Number two, I like to remind myself that it's very important that how I start and how I end my day matters. I am a person that wakes up, let's make sure I get this right. So I'm being 100% transparent with you. My alarm is set for 5 o'clock in the morning, unless there's some reason the night before that that I can't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If for some business reason or personal reason I have to stay up late, I'll adjust that. But in general, my habit is I get up and I go to sleep at the same time 7 days a week, which you might think is kind of weird if you're a young, spry person and you're thinking it's a Saturday night. Why would someone go to bed at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night? How boring and dull is that? Is when you can be out partying with your friends and having drinks. There are times where I will go out and party with my friends, but for the most part, I want to get up at 5 o'clock on Sunday morning. So to do that, you have to go to bed at a decent hour also. And this is the thing about a lot of these habits is they require you thinking ahead of time. So if you're going to be a person who wants to become an early riser, you don't decide to become an early riser at 5 o'clock in the morning. You decide to become an early riser the previous evening when you go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And so these habits kind of backtrack and they force you to plan ahead a little bit. So that's really quickly on number two right there. Sorry, my nose is itching this morning. I don't want to pick my nose. I'm gonna have to sit there and blow my nose later. I apologize. My nose is just itching like crazy. So if you're watching this on video, you're watching me scratch my nose quite a bit. So start and end times matter, and then getting in the habit of when you're getting up, right after you get up, getting into your routine. Sometimes routines can be boring and dull. The concept of getting up every single morning and drinking water and having oatmeal and having eggs, it can get boring and dull. But you know what? It's what gives me the fuel and the mindset to do all the other things in life I want to do. It's so important to get those other things done. Sometimes we have to do the dull, I try to combine two words there, the dull, the boring, then the mundane things to do the exciting things. If I want to walk on the Great Wall of China, or I want to go to Vegas and throw craps, or I want to hang out with my friends late tonight to do all the exciting things, I have to do the dull, boring, mundane things. But you know what? Those dull, boring, mundane things are the foundations for being a good entrepreneur, are the foundations for growing a business that makes a difference and transforms lives. And I know you are that kind of entrepreneur. Okay. 1, taking care of your body and hydrating. 2, start and end times of your day. 3, one that we learn oftentimes when you first get into your first career, your first job in your teens and your 20s, maybe your 30s, one of the things that the habits we get into that we're taught by the people that came before us is we live by our inbox. And one of the disciplines I've been very happy to say that I've gotten over the years is not living by my inbox. My email inbox is a way for people to send a message to me when they need something from me or when they want to communicate something to me. However, it should not be open all day long. If you are the kind of person that has your Outlook open all day long, or you're checking email every 5 minutes, or you have the Gmail tab open up on your browser all the time, you have to stop that shit immediately. Stop it. Stop living by what comes by your inbox. Your inbox, you have one of my points here in the future is going to be talking about having a mission in life. You have a mission in life. Your inbox is people saying, you know what, I want some of your attention. Your inbox is people saying, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin it. No, your inbox is saying that stop what you're doing, do my thing instead. That's what your inbox is. So when you have an inbox of 20 things, usually those 20 things are 20 other people saying, do something for me. Stop what you're doing for yourself. Stop what you're doing for your business, for your entrepreneurship, for your family, and do something for me. They are requests from other people. Do those requests matter? Yes, they do. The email is one of our primary ways of communication. However, when you have that open all the time, you constantly want to check it and basically pay attention to those interruptions. And what I like to do is I like to open up my email inbox. I like to deal with the urgent, if there's anything urgent in there, again, once an hour is that kind of habit I'm trying to get into. And then I will close my email inbox and I will get back to focusing on what I'm working on for the day. Very few emergencies come into your email inbox. If something's truly an emergency, you're going to get a text or a phone call. So my email inbox is something I try not to open too often. I'm a Gmail user, and yes, I've got email on my phone and email on my iPad and email every place. But we have to get out of the habit of living and dying by the inbox. You don't have to check it every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, even every 15 minutes. You know what? I know people that check email twice a day. They'll say, I'll check email in the morning, and then I'll check email at noon, and then that's it for the day. And then the next time they check it is the following morning. You know what benefit those people have is they are highly, highly productive. When they get up in the morning and they have something to accomplish, they are spending a lot of time in that thing, in that moment. Whenever you stop what you're doing because you want to go check email, it's like when someone walks up to you and interrupts you. Have you heard the statistics about how long, number one, it takes to get in your flow? And then once someone gets you out of your flow, how long it takes you to get back into your flow? This is why we hear productivity experts say that we have very little productive time during the day. When I was taking a project management class from IBM years ago, I was taught that you really only give someone maybe when you're looking at someone's 8-hour day, you really only count about 3 to 4 hours of productivity, because everything else is getting ready to get ready. Everything else is meetings. Everything else is interruptions like email or socializations at work or all kinds of interruptions. So in the project management software, for example, you put in a resource, like Patrick Allman was a developer resource. And most of the time, most project managers put in, well, how long can Patrick Allman work on a project per day? A lot of beginnings project managers put in 8 hours. No, that's not true. Patrick can really only work on a given project for a project management, like in the project management case, like 3 to 4 hours. Everything else is prepping and getting ready. So please, my whole point here is stop living by your inbox. It will change your life. And what happens here is you might be afraid that people that here's one caveat is you might be afraid that people are used to you replying right away. And like if I email Patrick, I know Patrick's going to reply really fast because he's that kind of stand-up guy. What you have to start doing is getting people used to. You have to start training people to basically adopt your email habits. Don't make their email habits dictate your email habits. If they're the kind of person that replies and to all their emails right away, and they start getting on your case for not replying right away, then it may be time to put something in your email footer or take advantage of your autoresponder and say, hey, thanks for emailing me. You reached the right place. This is Patrick Allman. I check my email at 8 o'clock in the morning and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's it. Train the people that communicate with you in other ways also, texting and voicemails and stuff also. Train those people, because you are the person that wants to become the disciplined entrepreneur. You started off on this mission for a reason, to transform yourself. So we have to get these habits in place. Please don't adopt the mindset, because everything starts with mindset. Please don't adopt the mindset that I cannot do this. My job requires me to check email all the time. If I don't check email all the time, I might miss this or I might miss that. You know what? Give yourself some leeway here. However, email discipline, from the people I've seen that have gotten really good at it, will change your life just like the other points that I've talked about. So again, don't live and die by the inbox. The fourth thing that I want to remind you of is, and we're going to get a little bit abstract here in these last 2 points, having a purpose for your business. I have made the mistake for the vast majority of being an entrepreneur of talking in terms of the tactics that I do. Patrick, you're at a networking or a BNI event and someone says, hey, Patrick, what do you do for a living? And almost everybody, including me, answers, well, I do marketing, or I do digital advertising, or I do Facebook ads, or I do direct mail, or I do video marketing. You talk about the tactical thing that you do, and then there is another layer of maturity where you basically say you help people. I help people do this, I help people do that. And then you don't talk about the tactical stuff so much, but that level, that second level is where you have to get to. If you're a coach, don't talk about your coaching. Talk about how you help people accomplishing certain things. And by the way, this is not new and original information. I'm learning this information from some of the podcasts that I listen to and the books I read. I'm learning to think more strategic and give my answers in ways that, number one, will better describe the results that I get, but also, number two, pique the curiosity of people that might be prospects. So if someone comes up to you, let's say you're a leadership coach, for example, and someone comes up to you and you say, what do you do? And you're a leadership coach, and what you say is, well, I help people find the right books and the right guides and the right habits to be a better leader, and I turn people into leaders, and I show people how to lead their organization better. Okay? To me, number one, that's a very dull answer, and I don't like dull answers. But also, it doesn't say what the end result is. The end result of being a good leader is not to be a good leader. The end result of being a good leader is you can lead an organization and transform that organization, possibly be more entrepreneurial, to insource some more things, and to help the business and help the people that are in the business lead better lives, and to help the business grow and prosper into the coming decades. Being a leader is just the beginning. And this is true, by the way, if you're a fitness coach. What are you? Patrick, what are you? Oh, I'm a fitness coach. I show people how to do burpees and medicine balls and sled pulls better so they can have more muscle. No, the goal is not to have, for the most part, the goal is not to have more muscle or run longer or faster. The goal gets back to the very first point I said, which is you want your body to be a better place. You want your body to be better so you can run your business better, so you can have a better marriage, so you can have a better relationship with your kids. That's why we want a better body. So if you're the kind of person that talks tactics more, take a minute after this video and spend some time really thinking about what is the end result of what you accomplish. Is it really to run a Facebook ad, or is the end result after the Facebook ad, which is step one, comes step two, step three, step four, and step five is you fix somebody's life. You transform somebody's life. Again, for those of you that know the same podcast I listen to, this is not new information, and this is not new information. This is not original information. It's not original coming from me. But when you run a Facebook ad, is it really because your end goal is to run a Facebook ad and that's all you want right there? Or do you want to see the result of the Facebook ad lead to steps 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then step 5 or 6 is you change somebody's life, or you had a real impact on their life, or you made somebody smile, or you saved a marriage, or you made a kid be more interested in going to college and getting an education, or you did something to help your kingdom, your family, your state, or your country. So think more about what the real end goal is versus what is the tactical thing you do along the way. Tactics come and go, but the higher you get up in the food chain, the strategies and the transformations you bring to this world do not change. People were, for example, for those of you that are personal coaches or life coaches or leadership coaches, those things have been around ever since the word coach was invented. But you know what? Facebook ads haven't always been there. Landing pages haven't always been there. Before that, magazines weren't always there. And then before that, newspapers weren't always there, but there have always been leadership coaches or personal coaches or transformational life coaches. Those things have always been there, and people have the tactics that vary to get them there. But this general strategy and the general way of the transformation has never really changed. So please think about your work in terms of what your purpose is in life. Don't forget to focus. That's obvious. I mean, that's a whole other webinar we could do right here on focusing. But spend some time focusing on a single transformational thing you can do for people, and you will rock the world. Okay, so far we've covered taking care of your body, which is the primary thing you have to do in all things. Start and end time of the day. Make sure you get in that good habit. Don't live by your inbox, and have a purpose in life. The last one, number 5, that we're going to talk about is the purpose, is the continuous education you need to be having. You know what? I got a book right here. Man Up. This is a book I got recently. I am actually on the launch team for this book. I get as many books as I can that are relatively easily priced. I pay full price for some books. I have a whole folder in my Dropbox called books, and I have those books separated into categories. And when I have some downtime, I'm either trying to watch an educational video, or I'm trying to read a book about some new strategy or mindset change or tactic that I don't know about. I love to consume educational material. I'm not going to go as far as saying I'm obsessed with it, but I like the fact that even though I'm not going to say, I'm the kind of person that went through and got the MBA or the PhD, that I'm on a journey of self-awareness and continuous education. I don't believe remotely that I know 1% of what I need to know in this world to transform the world. I like to consume. I'm obsessed with consuming. I use that word obsessed again. I like to read, and I like to learn more things from other people. And if I can't learn something from someone very fast, I'll move on. That's one of the reasons why when I attend conferences and events, I will go in and I will give a speaker sometimes a very short period of time to make sure that if I've heard this before, that I move on to something else that I haven't heard before. And so that's why it's very hard for me sometimes to attend events where there's a lot of speakers who are just kind of repeating some of the things I've heard in the past. Yes, you can say that I can always learn from these speakers, but for the most part, I like to consume new information. So find a way to continuously educate yourself. I enroll myself in a lot of email lists only because I like to download stuff. And that, if you're the kind of person who has an email list where you're getting opt-ins, I know that may seem like a shitty thing for someone like me to do, but I have a library of PDFs because whether it's a leadership person or a fitness person or a bodybuilding person or a personal coach, I just love what people have to say. And every single time I hear something or read something new, it changes me a little bit. It changes my path a little bit. So do me a favor, come up with a way to continuously educate yourself. Find people on YouTube that you like and subscribe to them so you get notified when they put out good things. Start like I did in Dropbox and start a books folder in Dropbox, and then underneath that, put folders for leadership, for motivation, for coaching, for Facebook ads. Just become a consumer of knowledge. Go into Evernote and create an Evernote folder that has to do with education and the different areas of education that you are interested in. Start taking notes there when you're watching a webinar. Just make it a point every single week to set aside some time to educate yourself. I have my week kind of planned out to where I have 3 days of where I'm working on marketing and tactical stuff for my clients. And then Thursday, like today, is media and media production day. And then Fridays are the days where I volunteer, and it's more business planning for the following week. Please do me a favor and plan your week like that. And someplace in there, drop in a chunk, an hour or two of ways to educate yourself every single week. You need to make that a priority. You don't know everything. And watching someone like me, you're not going to learn everything. I'm not the sharpest of guys in some particular areas. But What I can do is I can teach you things when it comes to things like a little bit of mindset work, and definitely anything digital marketing related is the area that we specialize in. And so if that's something you're ever interested in, let's talk about that. We can, if marketing and digital lead generation is something you ever need, then let's talk about that, because I am good at that and I can show you how to do that better. And we have training programs for that. And I love to teach that stuff. But when it comes to other stuff, I'm going to point you to the right people, because I don't know everything. When it comes to mindset, there are certain people I follow who I absolutely love. The Clients on Demand podcast is amazing. I listen to that every single week. When it comes to maybe some advanced LinkedIn tactics, there's Phil Gerbyshak out of Florida who I will send people to. But once you're in my wheelhouse of digital marketing strategy and landing page and lead generation, especially in Infusionsoft, because my company just became an Infusionsoft certified company, so we're an Infusionsoft certified partner right now. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There are certain areas that I can really help you in. But other than me, go find people who have knowledge that you don't have. This gentleman right here, Bedros Keuilian, is a recent favorite fan of mine, and you may think the book cover is somewhat sexist, but I promise you, once you get into it, it's not. So between Bedros, for example, I love his stuff. Russell Ruffino and the whole team over at Clients on Demand, even though I'm not a paying client, I can tell you that their podcast has so much mindset value in it that it's something that I listen to repeatedly. I mean, I could take out my phone right now, and I don't subscribe to too many podcasts because they would kind of overwhelm me. But right there, right there on the top of my phone, I don't know if you can see that or not. One of the podcasts I listen to on a regular basis is the Clients on Demand podcast. Then I've got one from Michelle Villalobos, and I've got Business Outlaws. It's this guy that talks about business in terms of marijuana. But you know what? If you really want to know what shows I have on my phone, I'll gladly share them with you. And again, these are all the interests of education. I am a big fan of Joe Polish, so I've got his stuff on there. I've got Michelle Villalobos, who's a personal friend of mine who I absolutely adore. I've got these guys, Business Outlaws, which talk about marijuana. I'm not a marijuana smoker, but however, they have some good business advice on there. I've got Clients on Demand, my absolute probably favorite one. And then I've got Ear Hustle. This is done by some people who I believe did a podcast from prison. A lot of life lessons in there. I Love Marketing. Again, I believe that's by the Joe Polish guys. Steal the Show, Michael Port and his wife. Inside Strategic Coach, good podcast on there. I'm a big Frank Kern fan, and oh goodness, let me see if I can manage my phone backwards. Oh goodness, you got to give me credit for that. And I'm a big Mindvalley fan. So right there, is that 8? No, that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you're looking for some podcast ideas, those are the ones I listen to. I got out of the habit of subscribing to 20 or 30 podcasts because I can't keep up with them. I may listen to podcasts either in the evening or when I'm driving, and it's just enough for me to keep up with those 10, let alone all the other ones. So again, my whole point with there, and my last point for the day, is make a plan to educate yourself on a regular basis, because education is a solution to so many problems. It's a solution to poverty. It's a solution to social issues. It's a solution to political issues. Education is can change the world and can really help us solve all of our problems, and it can also help us get along. The more we educate ourselves and the more we learn about opposing point of views, the more tolerant we can be and the more understanding we can be of people out there. So, I can't say it enough. So again, for those of you that are tuning in here at the end, my 5 points, my 5 getting you grounded or getting you back to the core values, disciplines here are: number 1, please take care of your body. And underneath that, hydrate as much as possible. Number 2, get in the habit of having good start and end times for your day. Mine are 5 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock at night. Don't live and die by your inbox or by people texting you or by other requests from your outside time. When you're trying to be an entrepreneur and build a business and really focus on things, avoid as much as possible all of those outside things trying to nitpick at your brain. They're a pain in the ass, and they kill productivity. Number 4, have a purpose in your life, have a purpose in your business, and make sure that purpose is strategic and transformational and not tactical. You'll get so much more out of your day, and you'll help people, and people will live and die by what you say when you help them transform themselves into being better people. And number 5 today was educating themselves. If you're interested in this video, by the way, if this was useful for you, do me a favor and drop a comment below, because it helps me figure out the feedback to do future videos. But if this was interesting and useful for you and you're listening on iTunes, go over to Facebook and join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is called Empire Builders, How to Build an Influencer Thought Leader Business. So if you're on iTunes, you're watching the video on YouTube, do that. And now if you're on, do me a favor, if you're listening on iTunes, drop us a review. We could always use the great reviews. And if you are on Facebook watching us live, do me a favor, go over and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'm going to be posting this video also. I post all these videos. And also do me a favor, go over to iTunes and subscribe to my podcast, where I put videos like this. We repurpose the videos over into podcast episodes. And by the way, if you're not an iTunes person, our show is also on Spotify. Our show is also on iHeartRadio. Our show is a couple of other places out there. So every month or so, I try to add a couple of syndication points to where you can pick up our show. So iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. I'm actually been dabbling with Alexa. You can't see it behind the camera over here. I have a full Alexa, and I've done some things where you can get stopdoingnothing.com tips on Alexa as part of your morning daily briefing. So that's going to be coming more also. But just do us a favor, make sure you subscribe. And in this group, if you want to get alerted, make sure you go down to the bottom of this group. I don't know where it is here, but there's a place at the top of this Facebook group where you can get alerted to when we do new shows. So again, if you're listening on iTunes or YouTube, go over and get inside the group, Empire Builders, How to Build an Influencer Thought Leader Business. And if you are already in the group, hop over to our other platforms and subscribe. This has been Patrick Allman. Thank you very much for your attention this Thursday. As always, please do me a favor, get disciplined and go out there and change the world. Go out there and educate yourself. Educating yourself by watching videos like this is what's going to solve a lot of our problems out there. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. Now it's time for me to have my first cup of coffee, because I've had plenty of water, and to get on with my day. I love each and every one of you. Have a great, great day, and we'll talk again soon.